The next story I wanted to talk about is titled Former Trump Campaign Operative Plans Rally for Those Charged in Capitol Riot. This is on the WashingtonPost.com, and it was written by Ellie Silverman. So let's give this a read and see what it has to say. Law enforcement authorities are monitoring plans by supporters of former President Donald Trump to rally outside the U.S. Capitol later this month to argue that the hundreds of people charged in the January 6th insurrection are political prisoners, an assertion that has exploded beyond far-right rallying cries and into mainstream conservatism. Let me tell you where this really got legs. I don't think it actually started here, but it really got legs with this clip from Madison Cawthorn. I think I covered this last week, maybe? Check this out.
What are you doing to support the 535 Americans that were held captured from January 6th?
Political hostages.
So Madison Cawthorn, this was like a rally that he had in Georgia, I believe. And this person is basically asking, what are you going to do to help the 535 Americans captured basically by enemy combatants? That's how they're viewing this. They believe that on January 6th, when they broke into the Capitol and broke the law and got arrested for that, they believe that the arrests were unjustified and wrong and were being done by the deep state. These people are off their fucking rockers. Seriously, they are off their fucking rockers. And Madison Cawthorn, a U.S. congressman, is contributing to it, supporting it, and lending credence to it. This is not a little problem. This isn't just a few nutter butters. This is real. These people are spreading this meme far and wide. And it's so far and wide at this point that we have a new date for the next January 6th insurrection. September 18th. Right now, as of filming this, it's September 12th. By the time this clip comes out, I think it's probably going to be September 14th. So we'll have about 4 days after this clip comes out on my channel before this right-wing extremist event takes place. This event being organized by a former Trump campaign operative. I'm hoping we're not going to see any kind of serious political violence, but I'm not holding my breath that we won't. I think it's likely that we will. But the difference between this event, the new September 18th thing, and January 6th, is that on January 6th, people were there for a reason. They were there with goals in mind right outside where the lawmakers were. I'm not sure that they're going to be there at the Capitol where the lawmakers are while they're in session. They knew exactly where every congressman and senator were at that moment in time. And that's why they brought bombs and zip-tie handcuffs and gallows. In this case, as far as I know, I'm not really sure that there is some congressional event taking place at the Capitol or wherever this event is happening. So it's possible that this is just going to be a peaceful protest. If it is truly a peaceful protest and there's no political violence, great. That's America, baby. That's what this place is all about. Speaking your mind, protesting peacefully. That's what it's all about. But something tells me it's not going to be like that. Something tells me there is going to be political violence, and we should be very concerned. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's keep reading the article and see what else it says. Look Ahead America, a nonprofit group founded and led by Matt Braynard, a former Trump campaign operative, is planning a Justice for J6 rally on September 18th to bring its message to Washington. Brainard's followers believe many of the more than 570 people who've been charged with federal crimes in the attack were nonviolent and reasonably believed they had permission to enter the Capitol, according to a January 29th letter Brainard sent to the Department of Justice and FBI. Brainard's letter demands prosecutors drop all charges. That's completely fucking absurd. They busted the doors down. If I can find footage of it, I'll insert it right here. They busted the door down. They were being guided away by police who were backing up, trying not to get themselves hurt, and they were chasing the people down. January 6th was a full-blown terrorist event. I don't give a shit if you thought you were allowed to go into the Capitol when you were sitting there. They literally busted the door down. They did not have permission to enter. They broke the fucking door. They trampled over people. I don't care what excuse they use. They need to be in prison. They need to pay the consequences for this. Let's keep reading. Brainerd's group requested to hold its rally at Union Square, the public park by the Capitol reflecting pool, according to a permit application his group submitted to the U.S. Capitol Police Board and provided to the Washington Post. Although local authorities have not provided crowd estimates, Look Ahead America estimates that 700 people will attend, up from an earlier estimate of 500 in a previous permit application. Plans for a counter-protest began to circulate online this week. D.C. Police, Capitol Police, and U.S. Park Police met with the group on Wednesday so that the group could answer questions about its permit request. The conference call seemed to be the next phase in the process, but authorities have not yet granted the permit for the event. Kimmy Gonzalez, the group's director of government affairs who attended the meeting, said in an interview Thursday, "I believe they should be granted the permit if they believe that they're not going to be violent. If they think they're going to be violent, they shouldn't be given a permit to protest there." The permit application described the event as a peaceful demonstration of our First Amendment rights. The planned rally comes as the city is still recovering from 3 attacks in 8 months in the nation's capital. A violent mob stormed the seat of U.S. government on January 6, disrupting Congress from confirming President Biden's election victory and resulting in the deaths of 5 people. In April, a man rammed his car into a barricade outside the building, killing a Capitol Police officer, and last month, a man threatening that he had a bomb parked a truck near the Capitol and demanded to speak to Biden. Holy fucking shit. That's batty. That's fucking batty. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this. There's a place called Patriots.win. It's basically the Donald subreddit after it got kicked off of Reddit. And I always go here to kind of gauge the room, figure out how people are feeling about things, and see what the latest twisted propaganda is, that kind of thing. This is a post on the Donald subreddit, basically Patriots.win. It was posted 1 hour ago, 10 upvotes. So word is that there's going to be a rally on September 18th in D.C. regarding the January 6th political prisoners. Is this thing an inside op or the real deal? What can we expect? And the top comment so far, 5 upvotes, says, "It's Matt Brainerd's group. The guy did a lot of calling and research of voting irregularities. I think he is legit and has now gotten focused on the civil rights abuses of 160 detainees. However, he has been advertising it for a few weeks, and I'm sure Jake Sullivan types and somebody wearing a Ushanka and a bus full of people handing out bats and bricks is a possibility." I don't know what a Ushanka is. Hang on, let me look that up real quick so I know. Oh, it's a Russian fur cap. So basically, they're preparing the narrative. If things go wrong, they're going to blame it on Antifa. It's Matt Brainerd's group. Dude was a Trump campaign operative. But if things go wrong, they can blame it on Antifa. If things go right, they can thank Matt Brainerd for it. That's how this is going to work. The only way things go right for the narrative, for the sake of the narrative, is if it stays peaceful. If it gets violent, they're going to look fucking terrible. The last thing that these people actually really want is violence. And that means they're going to have to restrain themselves. Do we think that Trump extremists can do that? Is that something they're capable of? Like Proud Boys and other extremist types? Are they capable of restraining themselves and keeping their cool and exercising their right to protest peacefully? Or is it going to turn into a violent mess? What are the chances? I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. Maybe by the time you watch this video, we'll already know how it turned out. Someone else said, well, I feel like no one on our side is even talking about it. I don't know. For all we know, it's just being spread around on all the underground Antifa forums, and they're all going to show up dressed like Trump supporters and start shit. Yeah, this is them prepping the narrative right now. This is them prepping the narrative. We already know exactly who is running the group, running the rally or the protest or whatever, and we know how they feel about things and what they believe. This is not Antifa. This is Matt Braynard, a campaign operative for Trump. We know exactly how this is going down. If there is violence, they are ultimately to blame. They should have kept their cool. We'll know one way or another if it's the protesters or the counter-protesters who start shit. I'm sure there will be people watching on each side to see how things play out. Anyways, there's another article I want to look at, ctvnews.ca. It's a Canadian website, I believe. Title is Ex-FBI Official Says Law Enforcement Needs to Take Upcoming Right-Wing Rally in D.C. Very Seriously. Let's give this article a read and see what it has to say. It was written by Paul LeBlanc. Former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe said Monday evening that law enforcement needs to take the upcoming right-wing rally in support of jailed January 6 rioters very seriously as concerns mount about more potential violence on Capitol Hill. I think they should take it very seriously. In fact, they should take it more seriously than they took the same sort of intelligence that they likely saw on January 5th, McCabe, a CNN contributor, told CNN's Poppy Harlow on Aaron Burnett Out Front. Law enforcement members in Washington are steeling themselves against possible unrest at the Justice for J6 rally, planned for September 18th, which aims to support the insurrectionists charged in the riot. The event, organized by a former Trump campaign staffer, has prompted security concerns on Capitol Hill, and some precautionary measures will be in place. However, it's unclear how many protesters plan to attend. The rally is also taking place on Saturday when the House will be on recess, so far fewer lawmakers or staff will be around. That's good news. For that reason, I don't think that there's going to be serious risk of violence. I think it's most likely going to be peaceful. If they can keep their cool in front of counter-protesters, then it will be peaceful. How many people were at January 6th Capitol attack? I was wondering, it is difficult if not impossible to estimate. Well, 500 and something people have been arrested so far. I'm guessing it was about 1,000 people. I see an article here trying to estimate it roughly. I'm perfectly prepared to believe there were several thousand people there, even 10,000 maybe, but when you start pushing that up to 100,000 and so on, that's not going to be true. I don't think it was 10,000. I think that's very unrealistic and unlikely. Maybe at, like, the events before the Capitol riot, like, you know, where Trump was standing there talking, giving his speech, and a bunch of other people gave their speeches, and then Trump told everyone to walk down to the Capitol with him, and then he took a pit stop along the way and let them continue on their merry way to the Capitol. At those events, there may have been 10,000. But I don't think at the Capitol there were 10,000, maybe 5,000. Crowd estimation is very, very difficult, and it's a science. And it's a science I don't understand, honestly, either. So I really can't speak to it. I'm guessing 5 to 10,000 people originally. This newest protest is going to have 500 to 1,000, roughly. So significantly smaller. And there's smaller risk because the lawmakers won't be in session, as mentioned by the article. So that's where we stand with it currently. We're basically just going to have to sit back and wait and watch and see what happens and hope that Trump supporters can show a little bit of restraint and show us that they know how to be calm, peaceful protesters inside instead of raging lunatics. Hope for the best.